Millions were suddenly on the line in what became a career-defining moment in Abu Dhabi, and Alex Eala's phone wouldn't stop ringing, not with calls from friends, but from sponsors ready to change her life forever. No one expected what came next. One match, one unforgettable performance, and everything shifted overnight. This is the story of how a Filipino tennis star turned a single tournament into a multi-million-dollar phenomenon, and why the world's biggest brands are now fighting for her signature. At just 20 years old, Alex wasn't supposed to be here yet, but she already had a resume most players only dream of: a Grand Slam junior title, the first Filipina to win a WTA singles crown, and the weight of an entire nation's pride on her shoulders every time she stepped onto the court. Still, the professional circuit is a different beast, where potential collides with reality, promise meets pressure, and careers are either launched into stardom or quietly fade away. For years, Alex had been labeled the future of Philippine tennis, the breakthrough star waiting to happen, but futures don't pay bills, silence doubters, or attract the kind of sponsorship money that changes everything. This is the kind of moment that transforms an athlete from a competitor into a brand, and that's exactly why Abu Dhabi mattered. The WTA 500 tournament in the United Arab Emirates wasn't just another stop on the calendar for Alex Eala, it was validation, a chance to prove she belonged among the elite on a stage bright enough that the world couldn't look away. She had played bigger tournaments, faced tougher opponents, and competed with higher stakes before, but something about Abu Dhabi felt different. Maybe the timing, maybe the preparation, or maybe that rare moment when an athlete's readiness aligns perfectly with opportunity. Alex arrived carrying more than her racket bag. She carried the hopes of over 110 million Filipinos, the weight of being a trailblazer in a country where tennis has long lived in the shadow of basketball and boxing, and the expectations of sponsors who believed in her potential but were waiting for results to justify their faith. The pressure could have crushed her, as it does so many young players, but great athletes thrive when the spotlight burns brightest. They don't shrink from the moment, they expand into it. And as the tournament began, it became clear that Alex Eala wasn't just ready for Abu Dhabi. She was about to own it, with insiders, coaches, and journalists who had followed her journey from the Rafael Nadal Academy watching closely, sensing that something special was about to unfold. Around the professional tour, agents knew that one breakthrough performance could change everything, and the whispers were cautious but hopeful. If she played her game and stayed composed, she could make real noise. In Abu Dhabi, what no one predicted was just how loud that noise would become. Alex Eala's game had evolved dramatically over the past year. Her forehand, always a weapon, now carried extra pace and precision. Her movement had sharpened, allowing her to chase down balls that once would have been clean winners, and most importantly, her mental game had matured. The emotional teenager had given way to a focused, strategic competitor who understood that elite tennis is as much a psychological battle as it is a physical one. As she stepped onto the practice courts in Abu Dhabi, working through routines with her team, something clicked. The conditions felt right, the preparation felt complete, and for the first time in a long while, everything aligned. This wasn't just another tournament. It was the moment Alex had been building toward her entire life, and whether she realized it or not, the world was about to notice in ways that would change everything. The opening match set the tone, as Alex walked onto the court with quiet confidence. No theatrics, no wasted emotion, just pure focus, facing a seasoned WTA veteran ranked inside the top 50, ready to prove she belonged. Her opponent had the clear experience advantage. She'd played the big matches, weathered storms from hungry young challengers, and on paper this should have been a routine win for the veteran. But paper doesn't account for greatness in the making. From the opening game, Alex Eala played with a freedom that stunned everyone watching. Her serve, usually solid rather than overpowering, suddenly had extra bite. Her ground strokes were laser precise, landing inches from the lines with almost unreal consistency, and her movements suggested someone who had studied every angle and prepared an answer for every shot. The veteran tried everything: slice to disrupt rhythm, heavy topspin to push Alex back, drop shots to test her coverage, but nothing worked. Every tactic met a counter, every weapon was neutralized, and as the match wore on, realization spread across her opponent's face. This wasn't the player she'd scouted, not a young prospect still finding her way, but an athlete operating on a completely different level. Alex took the first set 6-3, dominant without showing everything, then delivered a 6-1 second set masterclass that was clinical, ruthless, and beautiful. When she ripped a final cross-court forehand winner that kissed the line and left a mark on the court, the crowd erupted, and just as importantly, phones came out, social media ignited, highlight clips began circulating, and in boardrooms across Asia and beyond, marketing executives started paying very close attention. Still, one match doesn't make a tournament, and one tournament doesn't make a career, and Alex Eala's next test was already waiting. Her next opponent was even tougher, a top 30 player known for relentless consistency and mental toughness. the kind who grinds you down and makes you earn every single point. This was the real test, the round where many young players falter, where the adrenaline from a big first-round win fades and reality hits hard. Alex Eala passed with flying colors. The match stretched to 3 sets and nearly 2.5 hours of grueling, high-quality tennis, with moments when the veteran's experience seemed ready to prevail and flashes where Alex's youth showed through frustration and creeping doubt. Yet every time the pressure peaked, she found an answer, a booming serve to erase a breakpoint, a perfectly timed approach shot to swing momentum, a defensive lob that flipped defense into offense in one stroke. When she finally closed out the match and collapsed onto the court in exhaustion and relief, something shifted. This was no longer a good run, but a statement. Alex Eala was announcing to the tennis world that she had arrived and wasn't going anywhere. As the tournament rolled on, so did her brilliance, with each match presenting new challenges and each opponent new weapons, and every time she rose to the occasion. Her forehand tore through defenses, her court positioning was impeccable, and her shot selection showed wisdom beyond her years. By the time she reached the semifinals, the tennis world was fully awake. Commentators ran out of superlatives, former champions tweeted their admiration, and her name trended not just in the Philippines but across the globe, as the semifinal was broadcast in prime time in Manila and offices stopped, schools paused, and entire communities tuned in. Communities gathered around screens to watch their champion compete on one of tennis's biggest stages, and Alex Eala didn't disappoint. She played with the poise of a veteran and the fearlessness of youth, a combination that proved unstoppable, and when she closed out the match to secure her place in the final, the Philippines erupted with pride. But the celebration was only beginning, because what followed would transcend tennis entirely and capture the world's attention. The final was set for Sunday afternoon, yet by Monday morning, Alex's life had already changed forever. Her Abu Dhabi run was electric. Win or lose, she had shattered expectations, defeated higher-ranked opponents, displayed maturity beyond her years, and delivered the most significant moment Philippine tennis had seen in decades. Then came the aftermath. Within hours of her semi-final victory, her social media exploded. More than 200,000 new Instagram followers, highlight clips racking up millions of views, Filipino celebrities posting tributes, international tennis stars offering recognition, and the hashtag Alex Eala trending across multiple countries at once. And while social media buzz is one thing, what came next was something else entirely. Her management team began fielding serious calls, not about appearance fees or exhibitions, but from major global sportswear brands, international beverage companies, tech firms seeking Asia-Pacific ambassadors, and Philippine corporations eager to align with a surge of national pride. The interest wasn't just strong, it was unprecedented for a Filipino tennis player, signaling that something far bigger than a tournament run was unfolding. One marketing executive later described it as a perfect storm of talent, timing, and cultural moment. Alex Eala wasn't just a great player enjoying a breakout tournament, she represented something far bigger. Young, articulate, and accomplished, she resonated across multiple demographics. Hardcore tennis fans, the global Filipino diaspora, young women searching for role models, and brands eager to break into the Southeast Asian market. Her team was forced to schedule additional meetings just to manage the flood of sponsorship interest, as brands that once showed mild curiosity pushed for immediate deals and companies that had never considered tennis suddenly wanted in. The volume and urgency were staggering. In the Philippines, the reaction was even more intense. News outlets ran feature stories, morning shows lined up interview requests, politicians tweeted congratulations, and the Philippine Sports Commission announced increased funding for tennis development programs. Alex had become more than an athlete. She was now a national symbol. Her longtime sponsors felt the impact immediately, seeing massive returns as social media mentions soared and positive brand sentiment spread across demographics, with one sponsor reporting a 35% engagement increase within just 72 hours of her Abu Dhabi performance. Most meaningful of all, young Filipino girls began picking up tennis rackets, enrolling in lessons, and asking their parents about training programs, as the Alex Eala effect sparked a grassroots movement that inspired the next generation. Through it all, Alex handled the spotlight with remarkable grace, humble in interviews, generous in crediting her team and family, open about the responsibility of representing her country, and clear that she viewed the pressure not as a burden, but as motivation. While behind the scenes, her team faced a far more complex new reality. Behind the scenes, the team faced difficult decisions, choosing which sponsors to prioritize, how to balance commercial opportunities with training demands, and whether to strike while the moment was hot or take a measured approach to protect long-term value. The offers were massive: 6-figure endorsement deals from Philippine brands, 7-figure proposals from international companies, appearance fees that eclipsed her tournament earnings. The financial transformation was happening in real time, and every choice carried serious weight. One marketing analyst estimated that Alex Eala's commercial value had jumped by more than 500% in a single week, while another suggested she had become the most marketable Filipino athlete since Manny Pacquiao's peak. These weren't optimistic guesses, they were grounded in real offer sheets and active contract negotiations unfolding simultaneously across multiple markets. The question was no longer whether Alex would become wealthy from her Abu Dhabi breakthrough that was already happening, but how she would manage this new reality while continuing to grow as a player, because the hardest part was only just beginning. Before Abu Dhabi, her annual sponsorship income was estimated at around $300,000 to $400,000, respectable for a rising star but modest compared to established elites, with deals mainly tied to Philippine brands and smaller international companies betting on potential rather than proven global pull. After Abu Dhabi, the landscape had changed completely. Everything transformed almost overnight. The first major deal came from a global sportswear giant, and while the exact figures remained confidential, industry insiders pointed to a 3-year contract worth roughly $2.5 million, with performance bonuses that could push the total even higher. The agreement covered apparel, footwear, and equipment, with provisions for future signature product lines if key ranking and tournament milestones were reached. This wasn't charity, it was calculated business. The brand had been tracking Alex Eala's rise for months, waiting for the right moment to strike, and Abu Dhabi delivered it. Her on-court performance proved she could compete at the highest level, her social media surge showed she could drive engagement, and her cultural significance in the Philippines and across Asia made her valuable far beyond tennis. And they weren't alone. A major beverage company entered talks for a regional ambassadorship that would position Alex as the face of its Asia-Pacific campaign, spanning commercials, digital content, and promotional events, with an annual value reportedly exceeding $800,000 and renewal options tied to her continued prominence. Technology companies followed. Quickly, one electronics brand proposed a partnership combining product endorsements with a role in youth development programs across Southeast Asia, while another explored making her a brand ambassador for its sports and fitness line, recognizing her powerful appeal to younger, digitally native audiences. In the Philippines, the offers became even more aggressive, as a major telecommunications company pushed a multi-year deal built around national television commercials, print campaigns, and widespread media visibility. The interest kept escalating. A major telecommunications company rolled advertising, event appearances, and nationwide campaigns into a multi-year proposal, while a leading bank sought to make Alex Eala the face of its youth savings and investment programs. A prominent shopping mall chain pitched an ambassadorship blending commercial endorsements with tennis clinics and community engagement events. The numbers were staggering. Conservative estimates suggested Alex's annual sponsorship income could climb to between $5 and $7 million within the next year if she maintained her form and chose partnerships wisely, while more optimistic projections, tied to further ranking gains and tournament success, pushed potential earnings beyond $10 million annually. What made Alex especially valuable to sponsors, though, wasn't just performance, it was authenticity. She wasn't manufactured hype, she had earned her moment through years of sacrifice, setbacks, and relentless work. Her story resonated deeply. A Filipino girl who trained abroad, persevered through challenges, and broke through on the world stage. That narrative was marketing gold. Brands weren't just buying access to tennis fans, they were buying association with inspiration, perseverance, and national pride, along with credibility among Filipino consumers who saw her as one of their own succeeding globally. As offers piled up, her team had to be selective, weighing immediate financial gain against long-term career growth and brand integrity, turning down deals that conflicted with existing agreements or didn't align with Alex's values and image. One of the most surprising developments was the surge of interest from non-endemic brands outside traditional sports sponsorship, with fashion labels eyeing her as a style influencer, education companies eager to highlight her academic achievements alongside her athletic success, and even financial firms exploring ways to connect her story with ambition and long-term planning. Financial services firms soon recognized her appeal to young professionals and aspiring entrepreneurs, adding to a rush. That wasn't just about money, though the figures were undeniably life-changing, but about validation. Every contract offer confirmed that Alex Eala had moved beyond being a promising talent. She had become a marketable force, a brand whose name carried value independent of any single tournament. To manage the surge, her team expanded rapidly, bringing in lawyers to review contracts, marketing specialists to assess brand alignment, and financial advisors to structure deals for tax efficiency and long-term wealth building, creating an infrastructure as sophisticated as those surrounding established superstars. Critics questioned whether the commercial spotlight might distract from her tennis, A fair concern given the history of young athletes who cashed in early and lost focus, but Alex's camp appeared ready. Deals were structured with flexibility around training and tournament schedules, appearance requirements were limited, and partnerships were chosen for efficiency and long-term sustainability rather than quick cash. And as the world watched closely, one thing was clear. Alex Eala's Abu Dhabi breakthrough had changed everything for her, for Philippine tennis, and for what's possible when talent meets opportunity on the global stage. The millions in sponsorships, the surge of national pride, and the wave of young players inspired to pick up a racket all traced back to one extraordinary week of tennis. Yet this story is far from over. Will she become the sustained superstar the Philippines has been waiting for? Will expectation fuel her rise or weigh her down? Only time will tell, but one thing is certain: the world is watching, and Alex Eala's journey is only just beginning.